Hello and welcome to day 20 of the Greatness Within Journey, 31 days to reconnect with yourself and start creating a life worthy of you. We're discussing the four practices of the designer, the four practices to claim your space. Today, we are talking about the concept of a fenced playground is better than a free for all one because boundaries create freedom. These days a lot of people get into this drama of whether their freedom is being attacked by some obligation or some type of ruling or whatever their boss wants them to do. And that's not necessarily what I'm talking about here. Is related, but that's not what I'm thinking about. The way I'm thinking about boundaries is the way that I heard it, read it in some book. I can't recall what the book was, but the analogy of the playground was that if I am the teacher and you have children running around the playground, you sometimes are always stressed out because you're trying to pay attention to what they're doing. And if a kid's going running off and you don't want them to go on the street and be hit by a car, you don't want them to run away and just get lost somewhere in the woods or whatever you are. So you're stressed about controlling this scenario. But what happens if you fenced the playground? What happens if there's a boundary? There's something that lets the children know, hey, you can do whatever you want inside the fences, and there's going to be plenty of room for you to do whatever you want to do. There's going to be game rules. There's going to be a set of boundaries, physical, mental, emotional, that would allow you to play and enjoy yourself in this specific space. So that is what I'm thinking about. When it comes to creating a life worthy of you, you're going to need space for you to be you. You're going to need to figure out a way to manage your energy, manage your time, manage your relationships, and all these things. And that's what boundaries will become. So, one of the examples that I can think of is when I think of famous people, or I recall this one person that he always offers free interviews for people who want to do podcasts with him. And what he does is, hey, you want to interview me? It's free. There's no obligation for you to pay me anything. Here's a calendar you can look at, pick out your date, reserve your time, and we can go and talk about whatever you want in that specific point in time. So he pretty much has a space on his schedule carved out for these free interviews, and it works just fine for him. What happens on the other end? The other people probably have to wait months, years, sometimes 3 years for them to be able to interview him. But he still, but it's a boundary that he set because he cannot do everything for free, and he cannot just be giving interviews to everybody right away. So the same thing happens with you. Where are you in your schedule? Are you making time or separating time for you to work on you, for you to work on what gets you closer to your vision? So that's one of the easiest boundaries to do. Sometimes people may think like, no, I'm obligated to have a meeting or accept the meeting because it's my boss or whatever. But hey, everyone has priorities. You can block your schedule for a specific thing, treat it as sacred. It could be working out, it could be meditating, it could be taking a nap, it could be whatever, but just treat it as something that is absolutely necessary so that you can perform better in what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. So that's one set of boundaries. Another boundary that you can do is relationships. Just think about who drains your energy when you're engaging with them. Who's somebody that sometimes you run into them out there in public and you try to hide from them, but you somehow have to still engage with them. Set a boundary. It could be a family member, a loved one, like someone close to you. Maybe you just can't talk to them about what you're trying to create because they immediately start putting you down. So set a boundary. Maybe the boundary is I'm just not going to discuss this specific topic with them ever. I'm just going to be quick, get them out of the way, and then I'm just going to go talk about something else. It could be setting boundaries on how much time you spend with them. It could be like, hey, I'm just going to visit for 30 minutes and I'm gone. It doesn't matter what's going on. I'm just 30 minutes, I'm gone, because it doesn't help me long term. It sounds weird. It can sound selfish, but it's actually better, because if you're hanging out with somebody that drains your energy, the more you hang out with them, trust me, they also are getting the bad vibe. It just is not helpful for the relationship at all. So you set boundaries on relationship. You could also do it for lunch. Like maybe you have a lot of people that, hey, let's just do lunch, and you want to use your lunch for something else. You just book maybe every Friday is the day for your friends. Hey, you want to have lunch with me? Sure, book on Friday. We'll talk on Friday at this time, or we'll talk at this specific set of times. Sometimes I also do schedules in terms of like work time. I would just split like from this time to this time on every single day, or on this day of the week. It's time for me, and I'm just going to do focus work. I'm going to do my analysis. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. It's just specific for me. I'm not going to do anything else. So there you have it. Like those are just different ways to set boundaries. Just think about them. Start evaluating what's taking your time away. What are some of these things that maybe you have to prune, and you combine that with your boundaries. So it's like, maybe this person, I know I just don't want to talk to them. They can talk to me from this time to this time on this day or this week. That's when they can talk to me. Otherwise, I don't want to engage with them. It could be a specific task. Maybe like if you hate certain admin tasks, you can just determine, okay, all these specific tasks, or at least all these administrative tasks, I'm just going to do them on this slot every single day. If I don't get to all of them, that's fine. I'm just going to have to delegate it, or they're just going to have to wait, because that is draining my energy. So those are ways for you to set boundaries, to make space for you to move freely. And one of the things that's interesting is, once people understand your rhythm, they'll just adapt to it. That's the reality of it. You don't have to answer text messages after 6 p.m. or after whatever time you choose. You don't have to. Clients may want you to, but the fact is that they will get, if they actually are your clients, they'll adapt. They'll figure out a way. You can communicate, hey, I just can't answer questions, work questions from this time to this time. I'll get back to you whenever. And they'll learn, because that's the way it used to be in the past, especially when there wasn't any internet or like 24/7 connectivity. We had to learn to wait. So it's all part of the process. Start setting your boundaries and start essentially programming the people around you to work within those boundaries. Obviously, there'll be exceptions every now and then. That's okay. Maybe you just set rules as to what is an exception and who's able to actually use an exception into your schedule. That's fine. It always happens. So the point here is, go identify where you can set boundaries, how you're going to set them. What is one thing you can do right now to set boundaries on something, so that you can have room to be yourself and work on your vision. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.